All right, today in religion, we're going to read one of, I think, lots of people's favorite Bible stories. It's called Noah's Ark. And an ark is a boat. And look at this messy table. I'm at my house today, so I've got my tablecloth for the table there. Noah's Ark. What do you think it's going to be about? What are all these? Animals. So this comes after the story, a long time after the story of Adam and Eve. Noah's Ark. Long ago, when the world was still new, God saw that all was not well. Golden suns still warmed the days on earth. Silver moonlight gilded the nights and the hills, the valleys, the rivers, and the seas were as beautiful as the day that God made them. But the world had changed. The people had become wicked. Wicked means bad. They fought one another, hurt one another, and made mischief. Lots of trouble. They had forgotten that God wanted them to be good. In fact, they had forgotten God completely. Seeing this made God so unhappy that he'd wished that he'd never made people. He decided that something must be done. So as God looked down on the world, his eyes fell upon one man, whose name was Noah. Noah was the only man on earth who remembered God. He worked hard every day, despite the fact that he was very old. His wife, his 3 sons, and his sons' wives all worked hard too. They were happy, kind to each other, and good to their neighbors, even though they received no kindness in return. They lived a good life, the sort of life God had hoped that all people would live when he created them. God was pleased with Noah and his family. He decided that they deserved to live on earth and that he would protect them. But everyone else had been wicked and they could not be saved. So God told Noah about his plan to change the world. The world is full of wickedness, God said, so I am going to send a great flood to wash it clean. Nearly everyone and everything will be wiped away. But I will save you and your family, Noah. The world will begin again, as fresh and as good as when it first was created, and you and your family will live there. So here's pictures of all the people being wicked to each other. Noah was very frightened. What must I do? He asked, trembling. You should build an ark, said God. It must be big enough to hold 2 of every animal in the world. 1 male, a boy, and 1 female, a girl, and food for all of them. It must be strong and watertight because it will be battered by the flood waters for many days. I will do exactly as you say, said Noah. Now, Noah was glad that he and his family would be saved from the flood, but he was sad about what would happen to the world and all the people, and he had worried about what God told him to do. How can I build an ark? He said. I'm not a shipbuilder. And how can I collect so many animals? God expects so much of me, and I am afraid that I will fail. But God wouldn't let Noah fail. He was there beside Noah every step of the way, helping him and telling him what to do. So God actually gave Noah the plans on how to build the ark. The ark, side A. So here's all the little places for the animals. Noah and his sons worked hard, chopping, sawing, sanding, and hammering, and gradually the ark took shape. While Noah worked, God spoke to him. It will rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and the land will be covered with water, but you, Noah, will be safe inside the ark. As Noah and his sons worked, their neighbors watched from a distance. What are you doing, Noah? They asked, laughing at him. Why do you need a boat when the sea is miles away? So the friends were laughing because he's building a boat in the middle of the land. They didn't understand. Noah heard them laughing, but he ignored them. After many weeks, the ark was finished. It was taller, longer, and stronger than any boat there had ever been. It was slick, smooth, and shiny on the outside, with strong shutters as the windows and heavy locks on the door. The perfect boat for stormy weather. Inside there were many rooms, some wide enough for the longest pair of elephants to walk side by side, others high enough for the tallest giraffes to stand in without bending their necks. All of a sudden, dark clouds appeared in the sky and the thunder rumbled. The people who had been laughing at Noah saw that the weather was changing and they started to head for home. Perhaps Noah isn't such a fool after all, they said. There's a storm coming, that's for sure. and he'll be safe and dry inside his ark. Noah began to gather the animals, a male and a female of every creature that hopped, walked, crawled, or flew on earth. There were cats, bats, and rats, monkeys and donkeys, hooting owls and wolves that howled, big baboons and little raccoons, so many animals of all shapes and sizes. Noah and his sons led the animals up the gangplank into the ark as the rain began to fall. We don't have much time, thought Noah. So there's a male and a female of each, a boy and a girl. The sky turned black and the rain fell harder. Noah's wife, his sons, and his sons' wives were made sure all the animals were safely on board, and then they went into the ark. With one last glance at the world he loved, Noah went inside too and shut the heavy door behind him. So remember, God made a decision to wash away everything in the world because the people were being so bad. But Noah and his family and 2 of each animal were going to be saved so they could start a new world when the flood was over. Outside the ark, rain fell everywhere. Not a soft drizzle, but soaked to the skin, drenched to the bone rain. Raindrops became puddles, and puddles flowed into streams, and oozed into lakes, and poured into wild rivers. Then all the rivers joined together, and they became an angry ocean. The once dry land was overwhelmed, and the hills and the homes were gone forever. So as it rained, the water got higher and higher and higher and higher. Noah and the animals watched through the windows, safe and dry inside their ark. Look at the picture right here. It's so cute. You can see the animals peeking out of their windows. See that? For 40 days and 40 nights it rained. The ark was pulled and pushed up and down, to and fro on the rainwater ocean. Inside, the animals were frightened, and Noah did his best to calm them. He trusted God, and he knew that all would be okay in the end. At long last, the rain stopped, just as God had said it would, and the ark lay still on the water. Then strong winds began to blow. Little by little, the water level dropped, and the tips of the mountains appeared. The ark came to rest on one of them. So it came to rest on the top of a mountain called Ararat. It seemed that the ark's journey was over. Noah watched from a window as land began to appear. Then he sent a raven, so blackbird, out into the world to see what it could find. An hour later, the raven came back tired and worn, and Noah knew that there was nowhere for the raven to land. A week later, Noah sent out a dove. After some hours, it returned with an olive twig in its beak. And Noah knew that it had found at least one tree with branches above the water. This meant that the earth was drying out. The water was getting lower. Not long to wait now, he thought. After one more week, Noah sent the dove out again. This time, the dove did not come back, and Noah knew that the dove had found a dry place to land. Now it is safe to leave the ark, Noah told his family. Noah flung open the doors, and the animals filed out of the ark. They raced away in all directions, so glad to stretch their legs and run free. The birds flew off to find twigs and build new nests, and the deer trotted off to search for fresh green grass to eat. The giraffes walked and the lions ran, the monkeys scampered and the kangaroos hopped. Soon they would all find new homes and raise their families on the new dry land. After all the animals had left the ark, Noah and his family left too. Noah wanted to thank God, so he built an altar of stones and bowed his head to pray. "You saved me from the flood and brought my family to dry land," said Noah. "I will always be thankful." God heard Noah's prayer and was pleased. "Now it is the time for a new beginning on earth," he said. "I bless you and your family, and I wish you well. You must have lots of children, so the world will be full of people again. All the earth's riches are yours, the animals and the plants, the land and the seas. They belong to you, and you must take care of them." "Thank you, God," said Noah. One more thing, God continued. I promise that I will never send another flood to destroy the world. Look up and you will see a sign. So Noah looked up at the sky. The gray storm clouds drifted away and bright rays of sunlight shone for the first time since before the flood. As Noah watched, God made a brilliant rainbow appear, which stretched from one end of the earth to the other. Then God spoke again. Whenever you see a rainbow in the sky, you will remember this day and my promise to you. Now, Noah, go and begin your new life. Full of joy and thankfulness, Noah walked down the mountain to join his family in the beautiful new world. Now, when we see a rainbow in the sky, we remember God's promise to Noah. It's also a promise from God to us and to our beautiful world. The end. So today, everybody has in their work packet a rainbow, an arc like this. So you are going to color this however you want. You can use markers, you can use crayons, but we're going to make it, you can do rainbow colors or you can do it however you want. You can use paint, you can use do-a-dots, you can use paper scraps, but make this into your rainbow because we're going to use this tomorrow for something, okay? So you're going to do a project by yourself today. I want to see how you're going to color your rainbow.